Hi there, I'm Luma. Welcome to February. Phew, we made it through January. So I was laying low and hiding out through most of January. It's my time of year to hibernate. And also there was a heck of a lot of turbulence, energetic turbulence that we were going through in January. We made it through. Congratulations, all of you, whatever you were sitting with and going through. Things are going to be a little bit lighter now. So, in the Celtic wheel of the year, today is Imbolc, St. Bridget's Day. It's where the first breath, the first light is starting to grow again, like that first little hint of spring is coming. A little more obvious here on the West Coast than other parts of North America, where it's still quite cold and snowy, but we know that the light is returning, and there's just to take that sigh of relief and release. Yeah. Okay. So it's not just climate, of course. You folks down in the southern hemisphere, it's energetic turbulence that we've made it through. Okay. So just take a deep pause, a sigh of relief. Yeah. The sun's come out here today. We had some sun yesterday. It was almost 2 weeks of really intense storms out here, torrential rains. We had high waters, flooding here. I always take the weather and what I'm seeing here as a reflection of different energetics that we're going through, different energetic states and different states of consciousness that we are moving through. So looking back at January and looking ahead to the coming year, there's how to navigate turbulence. How to navigate turbulence. My number one hint is do not lead with your mind. Do not lead with your mind. Do not try to navigate energetic turbulence with your mind. It just freaking won't work. It just won't work. So if you're trying to do that recently, like I was, you might want to apply some restraint on navigating with certain parts of your mind, okay? So what's going on energetically? There's a big amplification of the creative power of the universal mind. Universal mind. Yep. The higher mind of intelligence, of loving intelligence, behind the scenes of this creational field of physicality that we experience. Yeah. So there's an amplification of universal mind literally pouring through like light and disrupting the dark illusions that we have been living under. Okay, so this is wonderful news and challenging to us wherever we have held darkness. Okay, ignorance. Yeah, wherever we have been going against life. Yeah. Against love, wherever we've held ourselves against life and against love. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about universal mind. So as angelic humans, we naturally have a capacity for higher mind. I call it angelic mind, and this is that state of mind or the part of our minds where we can merge and be in union with universal mind. Okay, so that's where when that's universal mind is nice and clearly interfacing with our higher mind, angelic mind, that's our soul, comes into our soul body. Yeah, that's part of our soul body anatomy. That comes in very clearly, and it translates all the way down through the etheric levels and the mental and emotional levels, astral levels, causal levels, all the way through into our physical manifestation. So it's like the Coles Notes version of a lot of creation mechanics, okay? So just to get the gist of that, yeah? So we're designed with this beautiful higher angelic mind that naturally interfaces in a state of union and merging with higher mind, and that can translate clearly through and outpicture as a very beautiful version of human life. Yeah, so that's what we are designed with, that capacity. However, we have a lot of distortions running in the mental field especially. So again, going back to why it is not very wise to lead with your mind right now, okay? So there's that beautiful universal mind and our soul and our angelic higher mind, and it comes through, and then there's almost like a fork in the road, and there's two paths to go down into the next level of mind. Yeah, so we can take one path which goes into the ego. Yeah, so it's that beautiful, powerful creation power of universal mind gets channeled down through the ego. Holy shit. That's when we see outpicturing of so much damage and destruction, right? So it's a real power that runs through us as humans, but when it runs through the ego channels of the mind, so that's the part of the mind, I call it the lower mind, that's subjected to a lot of afflictions and distortions, yeah, and like a lot of big power coming through there, so it can generate a lot of really nasty scenarios, like very damaging, very harmful, very hurtful, very cruel scenarios, because a lot of power that can come through a human being. Yeah, when a lot of human beings are focused on harm and damage, whether you're going to participate in that or you're participating in the fear mongering. Yeah, you still got your attention over there. Yeah, that's a lot of mental power, yeah, being channeled again through the ego. Okay, so luckily we have another channel as well. That's our spiritual channel of mind, right? So we get that nice clear mind. Yeah, why it's so important to examine right now what kind of beliefs that we're holding in our mental field. Yeah, beliefs about ourselves, beliefs about others, beliefs about various events and things occurring in the world, beliefs about God source, creation, spiritual beliefs, all of those beliefs in there. So great time to be examining, are those beliefs sound and true, or are they wobbly? Are they delusions? Are they illusions? Yeah. So I'm just going to pause here again, let some of that trickle on through. Yeah. So as we're talking about the mind, let's come down and really anchor through our feeling body. Yeah, our feeling body. Yeah. Okay, so feeling body, that would be also our emotional body. What does the emotional body do? It senses energy really well and really clearly. Yeah. So most of you who are listening to these videos are deeply sensitive feelers, right? You feel, you're empathic. Yeah. Your capacity and refinement of feeling is astonishing. Okay, that's your superpower, right? So I want to bring your awareness down as you're listening here into that gorgeous sensational feeling body. Yeah, that capacity for empathy. And just for a moment, do not let the mind come in there and make any meaning about what you are feeling. Yeah. So through our feeling, those are energy states that have a frequency, right? And we always talk about raising your frequency, yeah. And so, or, you know, getting caught in a low frequency consciousness state. Yeah, so we're feeling badly about ourselves. We're feeling fearful, we get contracted, yeah. Or we're feeling good, we're feeling healthy, we're feeling content, and our energy field just naturally expands, yeah. So we want to have our energy field, our feeling capacity to be able to expand, yeah, to hold all of this turbulence that's going on in the mental field. So going back, so what's been going on recently? A massive purging and cleansing of the human mental plane, the human mental field, our individual human mental bodies, okay? So it's getting deconditioned and reconditioned, yeah? Okay, so that's why if you station your primary identity in your mind, which is not actually the location where your primary identity is stationed, you're going to run into a lot of trouble, right? A lot of trouble. Well, it's like trying to use your computer when you're trying to install new software or even new hardware and you're trying to use the computer. Well, you can't, right? So this is like we're trying to use a part of our minds that's getting deconditioned and reconditioned, okay? So let's go more into well, how does this feel? Yeah. So how do I feel when all of a sudden beliefs that I've had as like the bedrock of my identity, of my cosmology, of my reality are suddenly getting really wobbly and shaky? Yeah. Where, oh my God, I've been living under some kind of mental illusion, some kind of delusional state. Yeah. How do I respond to that? Do I respond with like, oh my God, I am so ashamed. I just want to go away and hide, right? I want to pull that blanket of shame over me. And then, oh my God, I feel so guilty because I should have known and I didn't. And why didn't I know? And I'm a bad person, or I'm a stupid person, whatever, you know, those criticisms that we throw at ourselves in there. And so I call those the dark corridors of the mind, the dark corridors of the mind. Yeah, it's where you're like walking down a dark, shady alleyway and you don't know what's going to jump out at you. Yeah, and so it's going to be those shadows of doubt, those fearful things that are going to pop out at you in whatever form your fear happens to take, right? Those are those dark corridors of the mind, yeah, where you're going to perceive anything that pops out as a potential threat, or something that you have to fight or be in conflict from or run away and hide from, yeah? So the dark corridors of the mind. So when I'm talking about deconditioning, yeah, it's cleaning out those dark corridors of the mind, yeah? Those dark, shady alleyways that we're afraid to go into. And maybe we've avoided those dark corridors in our own minds for good reason, because we simply didn't have the spiritual strength to go there. However, now we are gaining in spiritual strength. So again, how there's the channel of our spiritual mind. Yeah. So all this clearing, amplification of universal mind. Yeah. Intelligent, loving consciousness of source coming through stronger and stronger and stronger, so it can actually illuminate our way through these dark passageways, these dark corridors and alleyways that we've been kind of stuck in. Yeah. So what's stuck in there? When I was doing my investigation, it was like all those places I hid away, those doubts that maybe I am a terrible, cruel, and evil person. Yeah. It's like looking at that part of ourselves that we don't want to look at. If we have this persona of being nice and kind and pleasing and pleasant to others and compassionate and helpful, we don't want to look at that. There's like that shadow part. It's like, oh my gosh, if I don't keep doing good things all the time, I'm going to backslide and actually find out I am this terrible person, right? So it's like that shadow sitting in the back. Yeah, so now we have sufficient light, spiritual strength to go and, you know, let's examine those beliefs that we've held about ourselves or what others have told us about ourselves. So let's use the example of, you know, many folks who are bearers of light, who chose to hold, bear, and protect the light in this incarnation, have been accused of being the black sheep of your family. Yeah. Because you weren't following the ego program. Yeah. Whatever version of that program it was that you grew up with. Yeah. and you compared, you know, you were humiliated if you didn't follow the program. Yeah, there was something wrong with you if you didn't follow the ego program. You know, it's like a little bit of your souls, and they're going, I'm actually here to hold the light for this lifetime. I've done the ego reincarnation loop like gazillion times, and it's not very interesting to me anymore. So I'm just not going to participate in that. I'm here to hold the light and experience this side of incarnation in this lifetime. Okay, so just taking another pause here. Lots of information wants to come through today. So most of it comes through as energetic. So let's take another one of these nice long pauses so you can catch yourself up energetically here, and then I'll throw some more words at you. Okay, alrighty. So let's come back to this any way in which you've been accused of being the black sheep or the source of problems or the causer of harm. And let's just examine those beliefs and see perhaps you're actually a white sheep, a sheep of light, a good and kind and caring, angelic human. Yeah. Yeah. And let's say the arrangement of human consciousness has been very ego heavy for the last several thousand years. Okay, so if we look at percentages, we could say it's like 80% of souls that incarnated went over onto the ego pathway. Yeah, so it channeled that life force energy, that universal mind, creative power into egoic expressions. Yeah, so that got really strengthened, very, very strengthened the last 2,000 years. Okay, and then we'd say we got about 20% of souls that incarnated like, will be a bearer of light. I will hold and protect the integrity of the eternal living flame within me and within every life form that I encounter. Yeah, and I will do my best to do that. Over here, a little 20% team in the face of the power of the 80% ego-driven human consciousness. Yeah. So just to take a sigh of relief and a breath of like, what were you actually up against? Yeah, in the collective mental field, full of distortions and afflictions. Mental illness, a very serious form of mental illness happening in the human collective field. Yeah. And that percentage is already tipping, and we know that, right? We know this like raising of consciousness, being aware of the mechanics behind creation, how our minds and our focus shape the physical world that we experience. Yeah. Yeah, it's like that's all being revealed. Those inner workings of the mechanics of creation are being revealed, so we can see how they work and consciously participate. Yeah. Choose our states of consciousness, which we are wanting to experience. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Again, taking these pauses so that as I'm speaking, you can catch up energetically. So back to the balance of ego-driven human consciousness and like eternal flame, light-driven angelic human consciousness over here. Okay, and so we know that the balance is shifting, right? So we know that consciousness of light, that eternal flame within creation, is being massively amplified. So we've got we call it, that's like the ascension, ascending into the light, right? And that all the ego programming and pathways, all those dark corridors in the mind are really getting disrupted, destabilized, and collapsing. Yeah, and so with that collapses what? Timelines. Yeah, timelines are collapsing. As those distorted mental structures are collapsing, and all the energetic structures created from those dark thought forms collapsing. Yeah, okay. So you want to be stationed again more in your feeling body, right? In the deeper soul truth of who you are. So you may watch and witness the collapse of parts of your mind, quite frankly, and not go insane. Okay, not lose it. Okay, so it requires a level of fortification, right? So it's like just dropping down, and we can locate that within your heart, within your capacity for feeling, and connecting directly with your soul and all those higher levels to stabilize you. And I spoke about this in previous videos about the pillar of peace and a pillar of light. Okay. To know that that is gaining in strength and fortifying your energetic systems. Yeah, this pillar of peace, of eternal light, feeling that deeper pulsation and rhythm of peace that is awakening and coming up through the earth, and we can feel that in our physical bodies. So again, always important to be out in nature. Yeah, to take a reality check to see, yes, the sun is still shining on sunny days. Yes, there are still clouds. Yes, there's still an ocean. Yes, there are still smiling faces of many human beings. Yes, there is still human kindness. Yeah, giving our attention to the goodness and every interaction we may have, that we may be surprised to see that eternal flame lit up inside other people. Yeah, how beautiful. How beautiful. So again, coming into this almost like a state of radical surrender to as we move through these feeling states, which are states of consciousness, to not fixate or try to fix. If you are feeling like shit, you're feeling crappy, you're feeling guilty, you're feeling ashamed, don't identify with it. Don't make meaning about it. Don't go into those beliefs and stories that are in the mind about that. Then it kind of hangs on to that energy, and that energy is wanting to unravel, yeah, to just break down and break apart, you know, so it's can decompose. Right? It's going into decomposition. Yeah, if you're trying to hang on to it, it's, you know, it's going to cause a lot of resistance. So this oh my gosh, there's parts of me that are dying off, right? This phenomena many teachers have spoken about, of old self die off. It's like that any of those ego structures, those dark corridors in the mind that were feeding the ego structure, we all got pulled into it. Do not judge yourself for that. Just remember, things were pretty out of balance, right? Collective consciousness was fully invested in running universal mind, creative energy and power through the ego. Yeah, we've all experienced it. We've all chosen that pathway. We all have those pathways in ourselves. Do not judge yourself for that. Bring the light of awareness, of illumination to that. Say, I may do my cleanup work. I may investigate these beliefs that I've held about myself that are causing harm to myself. Okay? So another thing I notice a lot when I'm working with people who are light bearers, that we've been immersed in this human consciousness field that's generated so much harm and suffering towards ourselves and others. So we're kind of like, well, there seems to be harm anywhere, everywhere. How may I minimize harm? You know, okay, so I will not intentionally cause harm to others. So I will just harm myself and not others. We're still causing harm, right? So that may have been a stance of protection, right? That we have been trying to protect some innocence, purity, and light within ourselves. You know, when we're hit with a lot of shaming, humiliation, harm, and assault, you know, so we kind of had to shut down, close down, right? And So let's just do some clearing here as I'm speaking to that expression. You can hear a little bit of the waves again, just washing, helping doing a brain wash. Let's just do some nice bubble washing through our mental bodies right now and through the collective mental plane and mental field of humanity. Really needs that right now. Yeah. So when I'm working with that, what I see is like little shimmering particles of golden light. Yeah, it's like the light of soul, the light of spirit, and it's shimmering and sparkling through. That's what I see as light codes. Yeah, it's like that information that's starting to come through, that we can start to create reality more from those beautiful particles of light, rather than what I perceive as metallic particles. They look kind of bluish. They're like metal. They just refract and reflect light, but they don't emanate. They don't self-generate light. These living particles of light, and they're populating like crazy and spreading like crazy. Like, not like crazy, spreading virally. Let's say in a good way. Whereas before it was the other way. So these metallic metallic particles, you know. Artificial intelligence, yeah, virtual reality, yeah. Okay, and so in my visions, I'm starting to be able to see these particles, yeah, and then, oh, what do I want to focus on? I want to focus on these beautiful shimmering golden particles of God source. Yeah, I want more of those to grow, to flourish, and to populate my mind, to populate my body, and to outpicture as beautiful creations in this world. Yeah. Okay. And I can still see there's a lot of these little metallic dots floating around. They're like little pixels, right? Little pixelated digitized life. Yeah. That imitates life. We know, like when we're watching a computer screen, like you're probably watching one right now, that you can't reach out and touch a warm human body. Yeah. You can feel the warmth and resonance of my voice. You can recognize that. Yeah. You have a capacity for sensing energy. Yeah. So you can feel these energy transmissions that come through as part of our natural telepathic communication. That's happening all the time, whether we're conscious of it or not. Yeah. And you can discern the difference to, here's Luma pixelized, digitized version on the screen. And if you happen to meet me in person, right? We know people have a different quality, that quality of warmth. Yeah. When in person, we can recognize, yeah, real human warmth. Okay. Real human feeling, capacity for empathy. Yeah. The capacity to work directly with these beautiful shimmering golden particles of God consciousness that we may give our loving attention to. Yeah. That we may bring peace back into our mental body, which has been in a lot of conflict, has been operating with a lot of levels of insanity, yeah, has been operating with a lot of fear, you know, that creates a threat response in the physical body, okay? And also, too, again, the power of the mind, it's enormous, it's powerful, right? Especially when it's connected to universal mind, creation power, holy shit. That's a lot. So what does it do? The mind pulls, like, wow, like this. It pulls your emotional patterning, yeah, your emotional patterns out of whack. It's like kind of doing like this, like kind of doing like this to you. It's, you know, pulling your emotions around like this every time you have a fearful thought. And then like this beautiful fabric of connectivity that we have through our empathy, through our interconnectedness, through our capacity to feel and sense energy directly, gets all distorted and pulled out of whack too, right? So it's like, yeah, we're just like de-escalating, depopulating those little dark pixels and those like kind of like false pathways of the mind, the ego, yeah, all those ego structures, yeah, collapsing. Let them go. Any way we are identified with them, let them go. Yeah, just watch it. It's a weird feeling. How I feel like disoriented when that happens, tired, hello, January, all I wanted to do was hide under the covers and sleep. I felt depressed. I felt like flatlined. I had no inspiration or motivation to do much of anything. And I was operating pretty much in safe mode of just, being able to respond to my emails. I was able to focus when I do my one-on-one work. What a huge relief it is to work and do the work that I do. Thank goodness. And thank you for all of you who keep showing up to do that work. Yeah, so that's when I can channel through those higher consciousness fields. And then when I'm just working on my own personal stuff, I'm like everybody else working on my personal stuff, right? So again, go easy on yourself. We're doing a lot of work, and if you need to again take extra time to do that inner self-examination without criticism, doing that inner cleanup work, it requires a quality of attention and focus that uses up energy, and you may feel physically exhausted or tired. No problem. Yeah, we're going back into those old past dark corridors, maybe where we've held a lot of shame, toxic guilt. Holy shit, doing a lot of toxic guilt dissolving recently as well, when we've got toxic guilt stuck in our energetic structures. That pretty much is an obstruction for light to come in, for understanding. Yeah, if we're just feeling guilty, and it's so toxic, like the light of understanding cannot shine through. We need understanding to feel feelings of remorse, of regret, and that's how we learn the cause and effect school of that we're in here on earth, right? So we're just there's a lot of dissolving of toxic levels of guilt happening too. So and that's those depressed states of like, oh my God, I don't want to feel or look at these really awful things. Again, call up your spiritual strength here. Remember, you chose to come here to be a holder of light, to grow and flourish in the resurgence and the rising up of the light that is happening now, to give your loving attention to that, so that may grow, and those ego structures are naturally going to self-destruct. So just unhooking yourself from any way in which you're still identifying with those ego structures. Again, do not judge yourself. That judgment comes in, guilt follows, and then you get locked back into the feeling bad about yourself ego program. So you can just avoid that, okay? And just again come into, it's like a deep loving state. What is your how do you understand God's source creation as a loving, benevolent presence? And that you are an emanation of universal love. Ground your identity in that. Stay grounded in your own goodness. As an emanation of universal love. Your true eternal nature. Ground yourself there. Let the mind do its deconditioning and reconditioning. Lead as an embodiment of universal love. Thank you so much for tuning in here with me, for watching, for sharing these videos with others who may find resonance or upliftment or encouragement. That's why I show up here. And there's times where we go through these dark passages and dark corridors, but we don't have to live there anymore. We're just passing through, doing our cleanup. Yeah. Okay. So keep going. So in this video, I know I spoke a lot about what's going on in the mind, and next video I want to talk more about what's going on the physical level, because I know so many people are reporting a lot of physical discomfort and stress and things like that. So I'll make another video fairly soon, now that we're past through the dark part of winter. It's like Ground Hog here in Ground Hog Day here in North America. Again, Imbolc in the Celtic wheel of the year. So there's this, like, we're moving into more light, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah. And so to stay with that movement, that give a little more buoyancy to the heavier work that we've also been engaged in doing here. Okay, so I will be back very soon, and check out my Telegram channel. The links are below. I'm always sharing gorgeous photos and short little video clips of the scenery here on the shores of the Salish Sea where I live. And I have a full schedule open to do one-on-one sessions if you need personal support as well. Okay, take good care. See you again really soon.